Hey survivors! So, I've got another mini message exclusive for y'all. So, yesterday I got a whole prophetic word while at an Elmo birthday party, and it hit way too hard for me not to share it. So, I was at my friend's daughter's third birthday party, and by looking at the guest list, I shouldn't even have been there. Every adult that was there either was related, had kids, or they were related and had kids, and then there was me. But it's absolutely amazing how God places you exactly where you need to be, even when it makes no sense while you're there. And it's even more profound the things that happen when you walk in obedience. Because y'all, I laid down and took a nap like 2 hours before this party started. And when my alarm went off, I was 2 minutes from cutting it off, going back to sleep, and delivering baby girl her gift a couple days later because I knew I was going to see her mama. But God said, get up, and I complied. So, toward the end of the party, some of the women are talking to a young lady that's a senior in high school. She shares that she wants to get a tattoo and describes it as a heart with a comma. We asked her if she knew what the tattoo meant, and she said warrior. Well, of course, the women began sharing their tattoo stories, both good and bad, and the importance of making sure that when you get a tattoo, it's something that matters to you because it's something that grows with you and is on you for the rest of your life. And y'all know me. I pulled out my phone and I immediately began to Google because I wanted to know more about this tattoo. Well, it turns out that it's not a heart with a comma, it's actually a semicolon. Further research led me to the Semicolon Project, which was a 2013 initiative calling for everyone who self-harms, is suicidal, depressed, has anxiety, is unhappy, experiencing heartbreak, just lost a loved one, or the like to draw a semicolon on their wrist. The creator of this project further notes that a semicolon represents a sentence that the author could have ended but chose not to. He further states that the author is you and the sentence is your life. A semicolon, y'all. Now, I don't claim to know or correctly use the rules of grammar. In fact, I can probably count on my fingers the number of times that I've actually used a semicolon in my writing. However, it is my understanding that the primary difference between a comma and a semicolon is that commas link a dependent clause or multiple dependent clauses to an independent clause, a dependent clause being one that can't stand alone. And a semicolon links it to independent clauses or ideas that can stand freely. So I've heard people say many times, don't put a period where God puts a comma. And while, of course, that's not a biblical reference, because of the nature of a comma, we can reason that upon reread and revision of our life story, because a comma is placed between a dependent and an independent clause, when we pause and pray and reflect, we will most likely be able to see that the clause cannot stand alone and therefore be reminded that God's not finished yet. But what happens when life brings us to a difficult independent clause? A place where, in fact, the story could be over, the text could end, and you, as the author, have completely run out of both energy and ideas, and a period will be fully appropriate. Have y'all ever listened to a Lil Wayne freestyle? I know that's random, but just follow me for a second. Google it. Most of Lil Wayne's legit freestyles are absolutely terrible. The documented times where he truly comes right off the top are awful. And the reason why they're awful is because Lil Wayne has a ghostwriter. So while he cannot put together verses and hooks on his own, he's got a fire lyricist who takes his ideas and his style and he immaculately weaves them together to create platinum records. Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not harm you. Plans to give you hope and a future. Hope and a future, y'all. That's God's promise. Even if you've come to a difficult independent clause and it seems fully appropriate that the story that you've been writing has ended as far as you can see, I implore you to turn over your pen to your Holy Ghost writer. Allow him to place a semicolon where you feel led to drop a period and trust him to craft your platinum album. I'm overwhelmed at my job or I'm without a job, but God. I've got more bills than I have income, but God. My health is failing, but God. My family is falling apart. But God. My kids are off the chain. But God. My anxiety is keeping me up at night. But God. Now, I don't know what it is for you, but God. And like I said, I'm not the grammar police, but I will assert that those two words, that coordinating conjunction and that proper noun, whether it agrees with the rules of the King's English or not, but God is an independent clause. And the reason it's an independent clause is because the Lord and his works can stand freely on their own. Y'all, this semicolon is my testimony. Handing my pen over to the Lord in a time of suffering has been both the scariest and most amazing thing I've ever done. There have been many times within the last year when I've run out of ideas and energy for my book. But my Holy Ghost writer said that what I thought was a short story was in fact the beginning of a beautiful novel. And all I had to do was hand over the pen. So yeah, I hope that blessed somebody the way it blessed me. Don't put a period where God puts a semicolon. Just hand your Holy Ghost writer the pen and let them work. Well, I want to thank y'all for listening. Today, I'm compelled to share this message on a larger platform, so I plan to do that nervously but obediently. The Survival Guide is my passion project. It's a collection of videos containing brief messages that the Lord has given to me for my journey that I've cataloged so that I can return to them when I need them. I'm not a theologian in any way, shape, or form, just a studying Christian, listening to and documenting my time with God and sharing it with those around me. So if you're interested in joining this journey, feel free to subscribe, and hopefully I'll see you next time here on the Survival Guide. Have a wonderful day on purpose.